Okay,
Action.
thanks. Well, the first article is that the Afghan governor, Gul Agha Shirzai, denies corruption allegations, and the Wall Street Journal has blamed him for illegally taxiing on the Pakistani border, and that he stopped a German airport because it had 3 suitcases of cash, and it is thought that he has freed insurgents. So,
Well, obviously, Afghan is another Middle East problem, and pardon sound effects. And yeah, I think it's, from what I understand, it's just allegations, but, usually where there's smoke, there's fire, and Afghan is kind of like the Wild West right now where everything is crazy, and I think it's probably very likely true that he is corrupt. So, yeah.
yeah, and his spokesperson, Ahmadzai Abdolzai, defended him against the two allegations of the aircraft and the taxation, but he didn't say anything about freeing insurgents.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I think probably freeing the insurgents is something that is a popular thing, and from what I understand, he wants to run for president, so
Yeah.
he probably doesn't want to deny it, and sometimes not saying anything is
Better.
the best thing to do for a politician. And of course, denying things that they did that are bad is a good thing for a politician to deny.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And the next topic is that Pakistani lawyers in it's Lahore, have gone from heroes to gangsters that instead of being a lawyer person, using their words, officers who come to give evidence usually come out beaten up by the lawyers because they didn't support what the lawyers are trying to defend. So who gives the
that's
evidence usually gets beaten up in the courthouse.
So the lawyers are beating up the policemen?
Yeah, it says that a young police officer came to court to present evidence in a beating case. He left with his head and lip bloodied and his uniform torn, assaulted, he said, by a gang of black-suited assailants. Black-suited as in the lawyers.
That would be interesting. I doubt that would ever happen in the United States, but that's an interesting problem when the police have no power at all to really report the facts. I mean, they're really the front line of what happened. And the lawyers are really just there to interpret or, obviously defend or prosecute the facts that are delivered by the police, but it sounds like the lawyers are trying to bend the facts for their, for their own purposes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's messed up.
It's not good. And then Bangkok is bracing themselves for political protests because right now Miss Yingluck is in order, but some royalists are protesting for her older brother, but he exiled himself to Dubai. So the way they prepared was Miss Yingluck got got laws that the military could help them if the protests were to get violent. but they hope it does not get violent.
Yeah, well, I think there's always unrest when people are frustrated with the way their government or the way their society is being run. And we saw that with our, what you call it, the protests that the U.S. had, right, in Oakland and Manhattan, and especially in Oakland, they got violent because the people were getting out of control, and probably it didn't need to get violent, but sometimes when crowds get unruly,
But there's
maybe
need.
sometimes the only recourse, but sometimes obviously it probably isn't necessary, and other times it is, and I think she has to do what she needs to do to retain order. In the same token, the people have the right to express their opinions in a public display.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing will ever get changed.
Yeah. It's good that she's preparing for violence, but she's still gonna let them protest.
Yeah, it's good that she's allowing them to protest.
Yes. And the final one was that in New Delhi, India, a new political party has began to rise, and it's called the Admi Party, which means the Commons Man Party, and yes, they are trying to gain power, and they want to be in like the general elections in 2014 and the state assembly elections in 2013.
Huh. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think New Delhi is one of the most populated cities in the world. And I know there's a lot of poverty there, so I think having the people be heard and not just, sometimes sometimes the people who are only heard are the people who have the money, right? So I think if they have a party that helps the impoverished in New Delhi, I think it's something that's necessary, because the poverty there is really awful, and people are, living in garbage dumps and eating garbage and starving, and it's really, really a poor part of the world. So,
But yet, a lot of families have like 5 kids.
yeah, that's I think that's obviously a cultural thing, and yeah, but it's would hopefully make some change in New Delhi and help the people live somewhat better lives, at least be able to have something close to a normal life.
Yeah. Well, this was a good final reflection. Good job,
Yes, it
Dad.
was indeed.
See ya.
Bye.